Emma Thompson was born and raised in a picturesque seaside village in North Carolina. One of those places where winding streets tell stories and residents share an unbreakable bond woven by shared experiences over generations. In this idyllic setting, in a home simple yet warmed by love and the richness of human values, Emma took her first steps toward a life of meaning and purpose. Her father, Thomas Thompson, was a respected fisherman in the community, known not only for his skill at sea but also for his generous heart and fascinating tales of aquatic adventures. Her mother, Mary Thompson, on the other hand, devoted herself to education, being one of the most beloved and respected teachers at the local school. Emma, as an only child, absorbed early lessons from both parents, learning from her father a passion for nature and from her mother the invaluable value of knowledge and empathy. The Thompsons' home, though modest in its means, was a haven of warmth and joy. The walls, though weathered by the sea salt, were adorned with photographs of happy moments and memories of simple yet significant trips. The creaking wooden floor whispered stories of generations, and every corner of the house echoed with past laughter. It was common for Emma to spend her evenings in the kitchen, helping Mary prepare meals while delighting in Thomas's tales of the sea, the storms he had weathered, the days of plentiful harvest, and most importantly, the life lessons the ocean had taught him. On those nights, while peeling potatoes or mixing ingredients for dinner, Emma not only learned to cook but also absorbed fundamental values that would shape her character. Thomas, between sips of tea, told her about the importance of courage and perseverance, while Mary emphasized compassion, integrity, and a thirst for knowledge. "The sea is like life, Emma," Thomas would say, his eyes shining with the wisdom of one who knew both the calm and the fury of the waves, unpredictable and full of mysteries. "But with courage and respect, we can navigate any storm." Mary, with her warm smile, added, "And never forget, dear, knowledge is like a lighthouse, guiding us through darkness, showing the way to safe harbors." These conversations, simple yet profound, were the essence of evenings in the Thompson household. The kitchen, with its old wooden table surrounded by mismatched chairs, was the heart of the home, a place of unity and learning. Through shared stories, Emma grew up understanding that despite adversities and challenges, love, kindness, and dedication were powerful forces capable of turning dreams into reality. Thus, cradled by the distant sound of the sea and the wisdom of her parents, Emma developed a worldview that valued simplicity, hard work, and the importance of making a difference in people's lives. These lessons, instilled during her seaside childhood, would accompany Emma throughout her life, serving as a moral compass on her journey into the unknown. Since the early years of school, Emma Thompson stood out not only for her remarkable intelligence, but also for a curiosity that seemed to know no bounds. Her eyes sparkled with a desire to learn more, to explore beyond the confines of the standard knowledge offered by school. Her mother, Mary, watched with pride and a touch of admiration at her daughter's thirst for learning. Recognizing Emma's brilliant potential, Mary, who had dedicated her life to education, decided she wouldn't let a lack of resources limit her daughter's opportunities. So every night, after a long day of work at the school, Mary transformed the small kitchen table into an improvised classroom for Emma. "Emma, dear, the world is a vast book, and those who do not travel read only one page," Mary would say, while opening a thick volume of classical literature or unfurling faded maps she brought from the school library. The nights at the Thompson household were dedicated to imaginary travels through time and space, from Shakespeare's intricate plots to the wonders of the universe unraveled by science. Emma absorbed every word, every fact, with an eagerness that left Mary both exhausted and immensely satisfied. "But Mother, how can something as small as an atom contain so much power?" Emma would ask, her eyes wide with admiration and curiosity after a lesson on nuclear physics. "You know, Emma," Mary would begin, choosing her words carefully, "it's like kindness in the human heart. It may seem small, but it has the power to change the world." These nightly conversations were not just academic lessons. They were moments where values, dreams, and hopes were woven into Emma's young mind. At school, Emma became a well-known figure not only for her intelligence, but also for her extraordinary kindness. She never hesitated to offer help to her peers, whether by sharing class notes or explaining a difficult math concept with a patience that seemed infinite. "Emma, how do you always know the answer?" a classmate once asked, half frustrated, half in awe, after she had explained a complicated physics formula. With a modest smile, she replied, "It's not that I always know, but I like to think that together we can figure out anything." It was this humility and willingness to put her intelligence in the service of others that made Emma a valuable friend and a respected colleague. More than that, Emma had a special gift for making everyone feel included and valued. She was the first to welcome new students, introducing them to the group and ensuring that no one felt alone. In a memorable incident when a new and shy student arrived in class, it was Emma who kindly invited him to join her study group. "You don't have to be alone," she said with a welcoming smile. "Here, we're all a little strange and wonderful in our own way." These actions, small yet significant, wove a web of camaraderie and mutual respect among the students. Emma, with her early wisdom, understood that true intelligence resided not only in the accumulation of knowledge, but in the ability to use that knowledge to make a difference in the lives of those around her. Emma's summers were spent at the beach, or helping her father on the fishing boat. These experiences not only strengthened her character, teaching her about the harshness and beauty of nature, but also instilled in her a profound appreciation for the simple life. However, it was her father's passion for the tide and the stories of the ocean that inspired Emma to dream big, to imagine a life beyond the small coastal town. During her adolescence, Emma Thompson faced the harsh reality of loss and the need to mature prematurely after the tragic death of her father Thomas in a boating accident. This event deeply marked Emma, bringing a new seriousness and determination to her life. Despite the pain, she found strength in the close relationship with her mother Mary and the support of the small coastal community in which they lived. Focused and resilient, Emma dedicated herself to her studies, excelling academically in school. She became an exemplary student, not only for her intelligence but also for her desire to help others, continuing to be a loyal friend and a positive presence among her peers. Emma also participated in extracurricular activities, including volunteering and student leadership groups, where she could develop her communication and leadership skills. Emma's adolescence was a period of personal growth and discovery. She began to dream of a future beyond her small town, inspired by her father's stories of the sea and the world beyond the horizon. Emma knew she wanted to make a difference, although she was still exploring how she could achieve that goal. Education emerged as her passion and path to the future, leading her to seek opportunities that would eventually take her away from home and toward new challenges. Despite adversity, Emma's adolescence was a crucial formative time that prepared her for adulthood, teaching her about the importance of resilience, compassion, and persistence in pursuing her dreams. Emma Thompson's journey into adulthood was a tapestry woven with ambitious dreams and unyielding realities. After graduating at the top of her class in high school, she eagerly embarked on the next stage of her education, armed with a full scholarship to one of the country's most prestigious universities. Her business administration course was not just an academic path, it was the vehicle for her aspiration to leave an indelible mark on the corporate world, driven by a business vision that was both profitable and ethical. The university became a cauldron of opportunities for Emma, who plunged headfirst into the complexities of economics, marketing, and business ethics. Her thirst for knowledge was paralleled only by her determination to make a difference, leading her to engage in various student organizations, where she actively participated in volunteer projects and mentoring initiatives. Emma not only sought excellence in her academic life, she strove to uplift those around her, sharing her knowledge and time generously. However, the transition from academic life to the professional world was a sudden shock for Emma. The job market, which she had imagined as an open field of opportunities, turned out to be a challenging, saturated, and relentlessly competitive arena. Despite sending numerous applications and attending several interviews, the responses were often disheartening. Each rejection was a blow to her confidence, but Emma faced each no with her head held high, determined not to let these adversities define her worth or capabilities. Emma's financial situation became increasingly pressing. Her mother, Mary, had retired from teaching and was now facing health issues that required constant care and medical expenses. With savings dwindling and the need to provide not only for herself but also for her mother, Emma found herself at a crossroads. Harsh reality forced her to expand her job search beyond her field of study, a decision that weighed heavy on her heart but was necessary for her survival. It was in this moment of uncertainty that the proposal to work as a domestic worker in the mansion of a wealthy businessman reached Emma. The offer was miles away from the future she had envisioned for herself, but the promise of a salary that could alleviate her financial worries was tempting. "It will be temporary," Emma repeated to herself, trying to find solace in the idea that this job was just a means to an end, a stepping stone on her journey to achieve her loftier dreams. Emma accepted the position with a complex mix of feelings. There was undoubtedly a twinge of disappointment at having to postpone her professional dreams. However, this decision was also a testament to her resilience and pragmatism. "This is not a setback," she convinced herself. "It's simply a different path to my ultimate destination." With this mindset, Emma approached her new job with the same dedication and excellence that defined all facets of her life. To her, this phase was not a defeat, but rather another challenge in her ongoing journey of growth, learning, and eventually, success. When Emma Thompson stepped out of the taxi on that gray afternoon, she carried with her a rather worn suitcase, modestly housing all that she owned. Looking up, she was met with the vast facade of Hamilton Mansion, an imposing structure that dominated the landscape with its architectural grandeur and the air of antiquity enveloping its walls. The tall, imposing windows reflected the cloudy sky, while the main door, made of wood that seemed to tell tales of centuries past, promised to be the threshold to a new world, a world where Emma hoped to rewrite her story. Charleston, with its paved streets and the aroma of history permeating the air, seemed like the perfect stage for the beginning of this new phase in Emma's life. The city, known for its stunning beauty and rich historical tapestry, seemed to embrace her, albeit in an intimidating manner. As she approached the mansion, her heart pounded with a mixture of anxiety and anticipation. Emma was fully aware of the magnitude of the step she was about to take, but her determination was unwavering. She knew this was not a moment to doubt herself, but rather to embrace the opportunities, however unfamiliar they might be. "Here we are then," Emma murmured to herself, adjusting the strap of the suitcase on her shoulder. That simple gesture was a tangible reminder of her journey thus far, of the choices and sacrifices that had led her to this moment. Walking toward the front door, she couldn't help but feel like a character from one of those stories her mother used to read to her, a young heroine on the brink of a great adventure. However, this was not a fairy tale. It was Emma's reality, a young and determined woman facing the unknown with courage and hope. She rang the doorbell, and the sound echoed through the silence of the property, marking the beginning of her new life. As the door opened, revealing the sumptuous interior of the mansion, Emma took a hesitant step inside, her worn suitcase contrasting with the luxury surrounding her. Every detail of the grand entrance hall, from the polished marble floor to the softly gleaming chandeliers, spoke of a world that was both beautiful and intimidating. But Emma was determined not to let the grandeur of Hamilton Mansion shake her confidence. She had come this far on her own merit, driven by a mix of necessity and a desire to prove her worth. "You must be Emma," a voice cut through the silence, bringing her back to the moment. Before her stood the mansion's housekeeper, a woman whose rigid posture and assessing gaze made it clear she was not easily impressed. "Yes, that's me," Emma replied, her voice steady, though her heart was racing. "I'm ready to begin." And so, with the mansion looming majestically behind her and the unknown future ahead, Emma Thompson took the first step toward the new chapter of her life, armed only with her unwavering determination and the belief that, regardless of the circumstances, she would find her way. When Emma Thompson crossed the threshold of Hamilton Mansion, carrying not only her worn suitcase but also a mix of hope and anxiety, she was greeted by an imposing figure. The housekeeper, A middle-aged woman whose rigid posture and austere expression could easily intimidate anyone, awaited her. Emma, despite the nervous flutter in her stomach, steadied her voice, a tone decidedly more confident than she actually felt in that moment. "I'm Emma Thompson, the new housemaid," she introduced herself, trying to conceal any trace of hesitation. The housekeeper examined her with a gaze that seemed capable of reading every thought, every doubt that Emma tried to conceal. For a moment that felt eternal, the atmosphere was laden with palpable tension until, finally, the woman nodded, a gesture that, though minimal, signaled approval for Emma to proceed. "Mr. Hamilton expects perfection in every aspect of his house. I hope you are up to the task," she said, her voice carrying a severity that reinforced the magnitude of the expectation placed on Emma's shoulders. Walking through the mansion's corridors, Emma couldn't help but marvel at the grandeur of the interior. Every step revealed more splendor. The spacious hallways displayed an impressive collection of artwork, their gilded frames shimmering under carefully planned lighting, and the furniture of timeless elegance seemed to tell stories of bygone eras. Emma was led through rooms that unfolded one after another, each with its own identity reflected in carefully selected color palettes and designs that blended the classic with touches of modernity. It was a world apart, a realm where every detail was a manifestation of luxury and history. The journey through the mansion's corridors culminated when Emma was brought into the presence of Richard Hamilton. The man standing before her was the epitome of authority and success, with a posture that commanded respect and a gaze that pierced, assessing the new maid before him. Emma realized then that the housekeeper had not exaggerated. The expectation of perfection was real and emanated not only from the meticulously arranged surroundings of the mansion, but also from Richard Hamilton, whose presence posed a challenge as intimidating as the home he inhabited. At that moment, Emma understood the weight of the responsibility she had accepted. Hamilton Mansion, with its treasures and secrets, represented a new and challenging world where every step forward would demand not only skill and dedication, but also a courage she was only just beginning to discover within herself. Before Emma Thompson stood Richard Hamilton, a man whose imposing presence was as unquestionable as the opulence that surrounded him. With a height that dominated any room and a posture that brooked no deviation, Richard personified authority and discipline. His hair, though sprinkled with gray, lent him an air of respectable maturity, while the precise cut of his suit left no doubt as to his demand for perfection and his position of power within the business world and beyond. Those who knew him understood that his attention to detail was not confined solely to his appearance. It was an extension of his life, his being, manifesting in every aspect of the grand Hamilton mansion, and now in the expectations he placed upon his new domestic employee. "Emma, right?" Richard's voice broke the silence with a depth that carried with it calculated coldness, devoid of any emotional warmth. His speech was direct, leaving no room for interpretation or error. "Your task is simple. Keep my house in perfect order. Failures will not be tolerated. You will start tomorrow." Richard's words, though expected, weighed upon Emma like an iron hand, delineating not only the scope of her responsibilities, but also the fine line upon which she now treaded. Before him, Emma felt a whirlwind of emotions: the anxiety of meeting the expectations of such a stringent man, the determination to prove her worth, and a twinge of apprehension at the severity with which failures would be handled. Yet, armed with the same courage that had brought her this far, she found her voice. "I understand, Mr. Hamilton. I will do my best." Her words, though simple, were laden with a steadfast determination. Emma knew that the task ahead would require more than just skill. It would demand a willpower and resilience that she was prepared to demonstrate. As she withdrew from Richard's presence, Emma couldn't help but reflect on the challenge she had accepted. The Hamilton mansion, with its numerous rooms, each more imposing than the last, and the expectation of absolute perfection weighed upon her like a mountain. However, there was also a spark of optimism. Emma saw in this new position an opportunity for growth, a test of her capabilities, and a chance to build something significant for herself, even if the path ahead was strewn with obstacles. In that moment, as Emma's steps echoed through the silent corridors of the mansion, she made herself a silent promise. No matter how rigorous Richard Hamilton's demands or how challenging the work, she would face each day with her head held high, determined to exceed expectations and leave her mark, not just as a competent servant, but as a woman of unwavering willpower and dedication. As the days unfolded, Emma Thompson found herself increasingly immersed in the meticulous routine of the Hamilton mansion. Awakening came in the early hours of the morning, a time when the outside world still lay in silence, allowing her to begin her daily tasks with contemplative quietness. It was a demanding routine, each day a mosaic of duties that demanded not only her physical attention, but also a deep emotional investment. Emma embraced each task, no matter how small or grand, with the determination that sprang from her core. Her commitment to maintaining the mansion was not only a reflection of her work ethic, but also a manifestation of her desire to prove herself, to turn every challenge into an opportunity for growth. In this world of rigidity and unspoken rules, Sophie Hamilton emerged as a figure of light and warmth. Richard's wife, with her aura of kindness and a smile that seemed to dispel shadows, became not only a mentor to Emma but a true friend. It was in the rare moments of respite, in the welcoming kitchen of the mansion, a welcomed contrast to the formality of the rest of the house, that the two women found refuge. As they shared a cup of tea, steam dancing between them like an invisible bond uniting their lives, Sophie offered Emma windows into Richard's soul, insights that went beyond the intimidating surface. Richard can be difficult, Sophie revealed during one of those encounters, her voice low, confidential. The kitchen, with its comforting aromas and the soft morning light filtering through the windows, served as the perfect setting for such confidences. But he respects dedication and effort. You've made a positive impression, she continued, her eyes meeting Emma's with tangible sincerity. Emma's response came from a place of unwavering firmness, her determination crystallizing into words. "I'm here to do more than just impress," she asserted, the conviction in her voice as clear and strong as the daylight now bathing the kitchen. "I want to make a difference." It was a declaration of her intentions, not just to Sophie but to herself. Emma was in unfamiliar territory, far from everything she knew, but her purpose remained unchanged. She sought to leave her mark, to transform the space around her with her presence, her dedication, her essence. Sophie, listening to Emma's words, couldn't help but smile, a smile that reflected not only approval but also deep admiration. "You're special, Emma, not just for your ability to meet the demands of this household, but for your vision, your hope. Richard will see that in due time," she assured, placing a hand over Emma's in a gesture of support and camaraderie. And so, within the imposing walls of Hamilton Manor, Emma found not only challenges but also allies, moments of learning, and true human connections. Each day was a weaving of experiences, some arduous, others enriching, but all of them were essential threads in the tapestry of her journey, weaving the story of a woman determined to transcend expectations and make a difference, whatever the cost. Within the imposing walls of Hamilton Manor, existence unfolded like an intricate embroidery of human interactions and intertwined feelings, each thread representing the complexities of the relationships that formed under its roof. Emma, initially absorbed by the practical challenges of her position, gradually became aware of the subtle yet profoundly significant dynamics pulsating among the inhabitants of the house. The mansion, with its grand architecture and meticulous decoration, could deceive an inattentive observer with its aura of unshakable success and dominant power. However, for those who allowed themselves to look beyond the surface, as Emma began to do, reality was much more complex. Richard Hamilton, the patriarchal figure whose presence commanded respect and whose expectations defined the pace of life within the mansion, bore a burden that extended beyond the responsibilities of his social and professional position. His demeanor, always impeccable, and his gaze, often distant, concealed the internal battles he fought daily. The tension between him and Sophie, his wife, was not constant, but in moments of shared silence or brief interactions, the fragility of their connection became apparent. loaded exchanges of glances, conversations abruptly halted when someone entered the room, smiles that didn't reach the eyes. All were subtle clues to an emotional complexity that the mansion held. Sophie Hamilton, on the other hand, with her innate grace and palpable empathy, faced her own battles in silence. Her smile, though often genuine, sometimes faltered in Richard's presence, revealing a layer of sadness she struggled to conceal. In her moments alone with Emma, when formality gave way to genuine exchanges of confidences, Sophie shared glimpses of her worries and dreams, many of which remained unrealized. It was evident that, despite the luxury surrounding her, Sophie yearned for something wealth couldn't buy: an authentic connection, a mutual understanding that transcended social conventions. Emma, observing and interacting with the couple, began to understand that material greatness did little to alleviate the heart's afflictions or the mind's restlessness. Beneath the imposing facade of the Hamilton mansion lay unspoken desires, deferred dreams, and a continuous quest for meaning and purpose that united all its inhabitants. This realization not only humanized Richard and Sophie in Emma's eyes, but also strengthened her determination to find her own path, one that led beyond appearances and toward a life of authenticity and fulfillment. Through her experiences in the mansion, Emma learned a valuable lesson. Regardless of status or wealth, challenges and sorrows are universal, shared by all. This profound understanding of the human condition and the complexity of interpersonal relationships marked a significant evolution in her journey, enriching her perception of the world and strengthening her commitment to living a life that was truly her own, free from the shadows of others' expectations. As time passed, Emma's existence in the Hamilton mansion began to take on a new shape, weaving itself into the fabric of daily life in a way that surpassed the initial expectations of her hiring. She was no longer seen merely as the newest housemaid, but as a key component in maintaining the order and beauty the mansion displayed with such pride. Her dedication, attention to detail, and ability to anticipate the house's needs did not go unnoticed, making her an essential element in the complex machinery that kept the home running smoothly. Emma's relationship with Sophie Hamilton flourished, evolving into a deep and meaningful friendship. It was a bond forged not only in daily proximity, but in the mutual recognition of their strengths, weaknesses, and above all, shared values. Sophie became Emma's confidant, offering a window into the often enigmatic world of high society, while Emma provided Sophie with a fresh and sincere perspective that often got lost in the formalities of aristocratic life. Their conversations, ranging from everyday trivialities to deeper reflections on life and love, were an oasis of honesty and mutual support. On the other hand, Emma's interaction with Richard Hamilton remained within a more formal and professional spectrum. Although she occasionally caught a nod of satisfaction or a brief note of appreciation for her impeccable work, these moments were fleeting, like lightning illuminating a night sky before dissolving into darkness. The professional distance between them was a calm but deep river whose waters Emma dared not disturb. Richard, by nature, was a man of few words when it came to expressing gratitude or satisfaction, letting his high expectations speak for themselves. In this environment of extremes, the warmth of friendship with Sophie and the professional formality with Richard, Emma found her own balance. She began to see the mansion not only as her workplace, but as a space where her presence and contribution had a real impact. The understanding that each arrangement of flowers she chose, every piece of furniture she carefully cleaned, and every meal she helped prepare somehow wove the narrative of that home, filled her with a sense of purpose and belonging. Days turned into weeks and weeks into months, with Emma solidifying her place in Hamilton Mansion. Her role transcended that of a mere servant. She had become an integral part of the mansion's life, a silent witness to the joys and sorrows, victories and challenges faced by those within its walls. And while her relationship with Sophie provided Emma with a source of friendship and comfort, her dynamic with Richard served as a constant reminder of her responsibilities and the role she played in maintaining the greatness of that house. In every task completed and every decision made, Emma left an indelible mark, contributing to the continuity and harmony of life at Hamilton Mansion. On a night that would be etched in the memory of all involved as a turning point, Hamilton Mansion was the setting for an event that exceeded all previous expectations. Richard Hamilton, a man whose name was synonymous with success and determination in the demanding world of business, was preparing for a meeting of utmost importance. The occasion? A meticulously planned dinner with Michael Carter, an internationally renowned investor, known not only for his acumen in business, but also for being a true pioneer in identifying and nurturing new market opportunities. Carter's ability to turn visions into reality had earned him an almost legendary status, and Richard knew that an alliance with such a figure could catapult his ventures to new heights. However, an unforeseen circumstance threatened to shake Richard's confidence in the perfection of the event. Sophie, his wife and usual partner in the social dynamics that such occasions required, was absent, summoned urgently to the side of a gravely ill relative. Sophie's absence was not just a matter of companionship, it was a crucial piece in projecting the stability and familial harmony that Richard wished to convey to his guest. It was then that, moved by a mixture of desperation and inspiration, Richard turned to a plan as audacious as it was risky. Turning to Emma Thompson, the household servant who, in a short time, had demonstrated not only competence in her duties, but remarkable adaptability and intelligence, Richard proposed that she assume the role of his wife during the dinner. In his mind, staging a united family could be the finishing touch to smooth the negotiations and seal a beneficial deal. Richard's proposal put Emma in a delicate position. Representing Richard Hamilton's wife even for one night was a task fraught with implications and potential complications. However, realizing the importance of the moment for Richard, and by extension, for the stability of the mansion she now considered her home, Emma accepted the challenge. With determination and a hint of apprehension, she prepared to play the most unexpected role of her life. When faced with Richard Hamilton's unusual proposal, Emma Thompson found herself immersed in a tide of hesitation and surprise. The idea of posing as Richard's wife during such a crucial event as a dinner with a potential investor was not only audacious but carried with it a myriad of ethical and personal implications. However, weighing the situation with both heart and mind, Emma decided to accept this unlikely role, a decision motivated not only by her unwavering loyalty to Sophie Hamilton, who had become a sort of older sister figure to her, but also by her deep commitment to the well-being of Hamilton Manor, which had embraced her not only as a workplace, but as a true home. Preparing for the dinner demanded a complete transformation from Emma, not just externally but internally as well. Under Sophie's meticulous guidance, who despite being unable to be present, insisted on instructing Emma through messages and calls, Emma underwent intense training on social etiquette, appropriate dinner conversation topics, and the nuances of behavior that a lady in the position of Richard Hamilton's wife should exhibit. Every instruction, every detail was absorbed by Emma with a mixture of anxiety and determination, aware of the importance of her performance not only for Richard's image, but for the future of the manor that she now considered her own. Additionally, Emma was dressed with meticulous care that dramatically altered her appearance. Elegant clothes, carefully selected from the vast collections of the manor, enveloped her in silk and satin fabrics, concealing any trace of her position as a maid. With each piece of clothing she wore, Emma felt as though she was stepping into a new skin, an identity constructed upon the expectations and imaginations of others. A dark blue dress, adorned with discreet lace details, stood out as the centerpiece of her transformation, imparting upon her an aura of sophistication and elegance that she could barely recognize as her own. Complemented by makeup that subtly enhanced her natural beauty and a hairstyle that gracefully completed the composition, Emma faced her reflection in the mirror, struggling to recognize the woman staring back at her. As the moment for dinner approached, Emma felt her heart pounding with an intensity that reflected both her nervousness and determination. It was a whirlwind of emotions, fear of being discovered, anxiety about the unfolding of the night, but also a certain excitement for playing a role so far from her everyday life. Every step she took towards the dining hall was laden with silent expectation, a questioning of how far her performances could take her that night, and what the consequences of her audacious performance would be. On this night, Emma was not just the domestic servant who had crossed the gates of Hamilton Manor months before, carrying a worn suitcase and a heart full of hope. She had become the centerpiece of a game of appearances, a protagonist in a performance destined to shape the future. And as she advanced, adorned with clothes that did not belong to her, towards an uncertain destiny, Emma Thompson carried with her the hope that, somehow, she would transcend expectations and prove her worth, not only as a competent maid but as a woman of unwavering courage and boundless loyalty. On the memorable night when the truth was unveiled, the Hamilton mansion shone under the soft glow of candles, creating a scene that in its beauty concealed the tensions about to unfold. Emma, adorned in elegance and playing the role of Richard's wife with a grace that surprised even herself, moved among the guests with a learned confidence. The dinner, meticulously prepared to impress the distinguished Michael Carter, flowed with the ease of a well-rehearsed play. Conversations about art, the intricate pathways of communication in the business world, and the essential quest for mutual understanding filled the air with a vibration of genuine interest and appreciation. Michael Carter, a man whose presence effortlessly commanded attention, was visibly enchanted by Emma's company. His curiosity was piqued not only by her knowledge on such varied topics, but by the passion with which she expressed her views on life and business. The conversation between them unfolded naturally, an exchange of ideas that seemed to transcend the initial purpose of the dinner. However, beneath the surface of this seemingly harmonious encounter, a current of frustration grew within Richard. Observing the interaction between his temporary wife and the investor, a restlessness overtook him. A mix of professional jealousy and a growing realization that his plan was slipping out of his control. Michael's admiration for Emma, while flattering under normal circumstances, posed a threat to the objectives Richard so fervently sought to achieve. Driven by a surge of frustration, and perhaps the fear of seeing his plans crumble, Richard made an impulsive and undoubtedly catastrophic decision. With a voice laden with tension, cutting through the murmurs of conversation like a sharp blade, Richard revealed the truth about Emma. "Ladies and gentlemen, I must clarify a misunderstanding. Emma, present here, is not my wife, but rather our dedicated housekeeper," he declared, each word tinged with a mixture of regret and thinly veiled desperation. A deathly silence fell over the room, a veil of embarrassment and surprise covering every face. Emma, whose heart pounded at a frenetic pace, suddenly felt exposed, the heat of humiliation staining her cheeks a deep red. The world, in its entirety, seemed to freeze around her, a dramatic pause in which time and space lost their meaning. It was before this stunned audience that Emma, gathering every thread of dignity she possessed, confronted Michael Carter. Her voice, though trembling, carried a strength that surprised even herself. "I apologize for any confusion this situation may have caused," she began, her words flowing with an honesty that cut through the silence like a fresh breeze. "I agreed to participate in this charade believing I was assisting a family that extended their hospitality to me. However, I now recognize that true strength lies in our authenticity, in the courage to be who we truly are, without masks or subterfuge." At that moment, with all eyes on her, Emma Thompson was not merely the household maid of the Hamilton mansion, nor the temporary shadow of Sophie. She was a woman of unwavering integrity, facing the consequences of a dangerous game with her head held high, a beacon of honesty in a sea of deceptions. And in that moment of vulnerability and courage, Emma taught everyone present an unforgettable lesson about the value of truth and the inherent dignity of every human being, regardless of their role or social position. In that moment of heightened tension, while everyone in the room was still digesting Emma's surprising revelation, the reactions of Michael Carter and Richard Hamilton formed a stark contrast, further delineating the complexity of the situation. Michael, a man whose professional life was guided by negotiations and business strategies, found himself fascinated not by the potential business partnership crumbling before his eyes, but by Emma's extraordinary demonstration of integrity and courage. His expression, initially marked by surprise, softened into evident admiration. "Miss Thompson," he began, his voice firm yet carrying a tone of genuine respect. "Your honesty in this situation is not only commendable but also revealing. True character strength, I now see, is far more valuable than any facade we may construct." On the other end of the spectrum, Richard Hamilton was immersed in a whirlwind of negative emotions. The silence that followed Emma's statement was broken only by the tense sound of his breath. The veins on his forehead pulsed visibly, a silent testament to the inner storm he was facing. The fury in his eyes was palpable, a volatile mix of indignation at Emma's audacity in exposing the charade and dread at realizing the potential collapse of a carefully orchestrated business opportunity. "How dare you?" he managed to say, his voice low, laden with threat. "Subvert such an important meeting with your notions of honesty and authenticity?" Each word was like a blade, sharp and cutting, intended to wound and silence, but the room was no longer dominated by Richard's imposing aura. On the contrary, a new dynamic was beginning to form, centered around the figure of Emma, who, even in the face of Richard's open hostility, maintained her posture of dignity. She understood the repercussions of her actions, but paradoxically found herself strengthened by the clarity of her principles. Emma did not back down. Instead, she faced Richard with a quiet determination, acknowledging the consequences of her actions, but also the undeniable importance of remaining true to herself and the values that defined her. The silence that ensued was laden with meaning, a moment of collective reflection on the night's revelations. Michael Carter, still impressed, turned again to Emma, offering not only his respect but a bridge to future conversations, perhaps not about business, but about the shared values that united them in that moment. "Miss Thompson," he said, a faint smile forming, "the business world needs more people with your courage and transparency. I am sincerely impressed." The contrast between Michael and Richard's reactions to Emma's revelation painted a vivid picture of the diverse aspects of human nature, from admiration for truth and integrity to despair in the face of loss and failure. As the night unfolded, it became clear that, despite Richard's intentions, the true value of that meeting did not lie in the business agreements that could have been sealed, but in the lessons of humanity and courage that emerged from a moment of unexpected crisis. Emma, in her vulnerability, had become the true epicenter of the night, a reminder that, in the end, authenticity is the most precious asset we possess. The morning after the dinner that shook the foundations of the Hamilton mansion, Emma found herself face to face with the consequences of her actions from the previous night. The sun had barely risen on the horizon, painting the sky with soft shades of orange and pink, when Richard Hamilton summoned her for a final meeting. The atmosphere was charged with palpable tension, a heavy silence filling the space between them. Richard, a man always so self-assured, now seemed smaller. His posture slumped under the weight of conflicting emotions. Shame and anger vied for dominance in his expression as he avoided direct eye contact with Emma, as if confronting her presence brought forth the entirety of his own failure. "Emma," Richard began, his voice hoarse, each word seemingly dragged out against his will. "You're fired. Your actions, they have crossed the bounds of acceptability." The words, though expected, did not lose their edge of pain, cutting through the air with a finality that sealed Emma's fate in that house. Emma, though shaken, maintained her composure. She had anticipated this moment since the revelation of the previous night, mentally preparing herself for the repercussions. Despite the whirlwind of emotions consuming her, a mixture of sadness for the loss of what she had begun to consider her home and relief at freeing herself from a web of deceit that ensnared her against her will, she found the strength to accept the decision with dignity. "I understand, Mr. Hamilton," she replied, her voice steady despite the emotional tremor she struggled to hide. "I regret it has come to this, but I respect your decision." As she packed her bags, Emma reflected on the month she had spent in the Hamilton mansion, on the lessons learned and the relationships forged within its walls. Each item she placed in her suitcase seemed to carry with it a memory, a fragment of the life she was leaving behind. It was in this moment of farewell that Sophie Hamilton found her, her expression heavy with a profound sadness and a guilt that was not hers to bear. "Emma, I have no words to express how sorry I am," said Sophie, embracing her with a warmth that sought to comfort them both. "You didn't deserve this ending. Your honesty and integrity, you showed more courage than many of us could aspire to." I will miss you greatly." Sophie's words were a balm, a recognition of Emma's worth that transcended her role in the mansion. "Thank you, Sophie," replied Emma, allowing herself for a brief moment to succumb to the emotion of parting. "Being here, getting to know you, it was an experience I will always cherish. I hope Richard realizes the error of his ways, not for my sake, but for his own." With her bags packed and farewells said, Emma crossed the threshold of Hamilton Manor for the last time, not as the maid who arrived months earlier, but as a woman transformed by the trial of truth and integrity. And as she walked away, she carried with her not only the memories of a closed chapter of her life, but the certainty that, regardless of the challenges the future held, her strength and courage would be guiding lights on her path. As Emma Thompson slowly made her way down the long driveway leading out of the gates of Hamilton Manor, her steps were accompanied by considerable physical and emotional baggage. The suitcase, worn by travels and challenges faced, now seemed heavier, laden not only with her belongings but also with the experiences lived within those walls. Despite the fresh morning and the sun beginning to dissipate the dew, a mist of complex emotions enveloped Emma, a mixture of resignation, sadness, and paradoxically, a spark of optimism. The humiliation suffered at the dinner party still burned in her memory, a vivid reminder of the exposure and vulnerability she had experienced in front of everyone's eyes. She could still feel the weight of those stares upon her, judging her not for who she was but for the situation she had been placed in. Yet along with this memory emerged an unexpected sense of liberation. For the first time since taking on the role imposed by Richard, Emma felt the fresh air of freedom touching her face, a gentle breeze carrying with it the promise of new beginnings. Reflecting on the events that led to her departure, Emma realized that despite the adversities, she had remained true to her deepest values. Her decision to reveal the truth, although it had resulted in her dismissal, was a testament to her integrity and her refusal to live under false pretenses. This loyalty to herself, to this unwavering commitment to honesty, was what now gave her a sense of inner strength, a conviction that, regardless of future challenges, she had the resilience needed to face them. As she walked away, Emma allowed herself a moment of reflection on her journey. She recalled the days of learning, the moments of genuine connection with Sophie, and even the brief instances when she had felt Richard's approval. Each of these moments composed the mosaic of her experience at Hamilton Manor, teaching her valuable lessons about herself and the world around her. Now, as she left behind the manor and its inhabitants, Emma carried not only the physical baggage of her suitcase, she carried an emotional baggage full of growth, self-awareness, and renewed determination. The road ahead was open, filled with uncertainties, yes, but also with infinite possibilities. With each step she took into the unknown, Emma Thompson felt more prepared to face whatever the future held for her, armed with the certainty that her true strength lay in her ability to remain true to herself and to the principles that defined who she was. In the weeks following her departure from the Hamilton mansion, Emma Thompson embarked on a journey of self-discovery and rebuilding. She had rented a modest apartment on the outskirts of the city, a simple space yet filled with potential to become a true home. It was her sanctuary, a place where she could reflect on recent events and plan her next steps. Emma was determined not to let the challenges she faced define her future. With renewed resilience, she devoted herself to seeking new job opportunities, exploring every possibility that could lead to rebuilding her professional and personal life. During this transition period, Emma kept herself busy, searching for employment with unwavering determination, attending interviews, and expanding her network. Despite the obstacles and uncertainty that pervaded this process, she maintained a positive attitude, convinced that her dedication and work ethic would eventually lead to new opportunities. Her faith in herself and her principles remained unshakable, a compass guiding her through moments of doubt and challenge. It was in this context of search and hope that an unexpected phone call became the catalyst for a change in her life's direction. The call was from Michael Carter, the visionary investor who had witnessed Emma's courage and honesty on that memorable night at the Hamilton mansion. Michael's calm and assertive voice brought with it a mix of surprise and anticipation as he communicated with Emma for the first time since the event. "Emma, your honesty and eloquence that night left me deeply impressed," Michael began, his words carrying a weight of sincerity and respect. "You demonstrated an integrity and clarity of thought that are rare qualities that, after much reflection, made me realize that you are exactly the kind of person I need on my team." Michael's revelation was a turning point for Emma. The initial surprise quickly gave way to a feeling of gratitude and excitement for the unexpected opportunity. Michael's offer was not only a vote of confidence in her abilities and character, but also the possibility of a fresh start. A chance to apply her convictions and work ethic in an environment that valued transparency and integrity above all else. As they talked, details about the position and the project were discussed, with Michael expressing his conviction that Emma would bring valuable perspective and renewed energy to the team. In turn, Emma, though still surprised by the turn of events, felt a connection with the ideals and vision Michael shared. It was an opportunity to be part of something bigger, to contribute to projects that aligned with her own values. When Emma Thompson received Michael Carter's offer, a whirlwind of emotions engulfed her. The initial disbelief gave way to a growing sense of euphoria and gratitude. The proposal was more than just a job offer. It was a door opening to a future filled with possibilities, a chance to leave behind the shadows of the past and redefine her professional and personal trajectory. The project Michael invited her to lead was not only ambitious in its scale and potential impact, but also represented an affirmation of the confidence he placed in her abilities and values. "Emma, your performance that night revealed more than just your courage. It showed innate leadership, an ability to remain steadfast even under pressure," Michael explained over the phone, his voice brimming with admiration and a certain urgency, as if recognizing the opportunity in Emma was a revelation for him as well. "I am convinced that you are the right person to lead this project. Your vision, intelligence, and above all, your integrity are exactly what we need." For Emma, Michael's offer was a testimony to the power of authenticity and truth. In a world where appearances often carried more weight than substance, the chance to lead such a significant project based on her principles was a validation not only of her skills but also of her character. Accepting this offer meant embarking on a journey of growth and challenges, an opportunity to apply her knowledge and lead a team towards a common goal, guided by the values of compassion and integrity that had always guided her actions. "Michael, I am sincerely grateful and honored by your trust. I accept the offer with a commitment to dedicate myself entirely to this project, leading with the same passion and integrity you recognized in me," Emma replied, her voice firm and filled with determination. She knew that the path ahead would be filled with challenges, requiring not only a sharp mind and keen skills, but also the ability to inspire and guide her team with a sense of purpose and empathy. As Emma prepared to take on her new role, she reflected on the journey that had led her to this point. Gone were the days of uncertainty and job hunting. Now she stood on the brink of leading one of Michael Carter's most promising projects, a challenge that would test her skills and deepen her understanding of what it means to be a truly effective leader. Emma was aware that every decision made, every strategy implemented, would not only shape the project's success, but also define the type of leader she aspired to be. With the acceptance of this offer, Emma not only embarked on a new professional journey, she also took a significant step in her personal journey of self-affirmation and fulfillment. Equipped with her intelligence, skill, and most importantly, a heart guided by compassion and integrity, Emma was ready to face the challenges that lay ahead, turning every obstacle into an opportunity for growth and every success into a platform to inspire and make a difference in the world around her. As Emma Thompson began to settle into her new role, working under the mentorship of Michael Carter and embracing the challenges and opportunities it brought, life seemed to follow a promising and rewarding course. However, far from being a peaceful period of transition and professional growth, Emma found herself embroiled in a plot unfolding with the intensity of a thriller, bringing to light secrets that had remained hidden in the shadows of the Hamilton mansion. Before leaving the mansion, moved by a combination of intuition, and the strange tensions she had perceived between Richard and Sophie Hamilton, Emma had enlisted the services of Agent Harper, a renowned private detective known for his ability to unravel mysteries that others deemed unsolvable. Together, they delved into the enigma of the disappearance of a distant relative of Richard's, an old case whispering dark secrets and hidden truths, a veil of mystery hanging over the Hamilton family, casting a long shadow over their reputation. The collaboration between Emma and Agent Harper was marked by sleepless nights, analysis of old documents, and clandestine visits to the mansion to search for clues that Richard believed were well hidden. The detective, with his experience and insight, guided Emma through the maze of evidence, while she, with her sharp memory of the mansion's minutiae and her unique understanding of the Hamiltons, provided invaluable insights that directed the investigation. The twist came when they discovered, hidden in a secret compartment behind the mansion's library, a set of documents yellowed with age. These papers not only shed light on the fate of Richard's missing relative, revealing a tragic ending that had been meticulously concealed, but also exposed a series of questionable activities in which Richard had been involved, practices that, once revealed, would tarnish his reputation beyond recovery. The revelation of these secrets, once brought to public light, sparked a scandal that reverberated throughout the Charleston community. The news that the respected Richard Hamilton was involved in acts that severely contradicted the image of the upright businessman and philanthropist he projected shook the foundations of local society, sparking heated debates in tea rooms, offices, and the city's newspapers. For Emma, the unfolding of these events was a journey filled with conflicting emotions. There was a sense of vindication, a confirmation that her decision to investigate the secrets of the Hamilton mansion had been just and necessary. However, this feeling was tempered by a deep melancholy for the impact the revelations had on those she had come to consider almost as family. After all, despite Richard's flaws, she could not deny the affection she still felt for Sophie and the gratitude for the experiences she had lived in the mansion. Thus, as Emma moved forward in her new life, leading with integrity and compassion under the guidance of Michael Carter, she carried with her the lessons learned during her stay at the Hamilton mansion. The scandal, though painful, reaffirmed her belief in the importance of truth and honesty, values she pledged to keep at the core of her leadership and in all future actions. Amidst the whirlwind of events that followed Richard Hamilton's secrets coming to light, the impact was felt not only within the confines of the mansion he called home, but also within the foundations of the Charleston community, shaking the trust and admiration many had for him. Richard, once regarded as a pillar of business and social integrity, found himself embroiled in a legal and ethical battle, struggling to maintain any semblance of dignity in the face of the accusations that surfaced. The revelations not only stripped him of his social standing, but also plunged him into a vortex of legal responsibility, where he had to answer for his past actions. The widely covered trials by the local media served as a stark reminder that no one is above the consequences of their deeds, regardless of their status or influence. Meanwhile, far from the chaos now engulfing Richard's life, Emma Thompson navigated the waters of her new career under the guidance of Michael Carter. The transition to a leadership role in one of Carter's most ambitious projects was not without its own challenges. However, armed with the experience gained and the lessons learned during her time at the Hamilton mansion, Emma tackled each obstacle with the same determination and integrity that had brought her to this point. Her ability to lead with compassion, coupled with a clear vision and unwavering commitment to ethical values, quickly established her as a figure of influence and respect in her new sphere. Emma's story, from dismissed housemaid to respected business leader, began to circulate, first among her peers and eventually reaching a wider audience. Her journey became a source of inspiration for many, a vivid example of how true strength of character can turn adversities into opportunities. Conferences and panels sought her participation, not only to share insights on leadership and innovation, but also to hear her story of resilience and integrity. For Emma, this attention was both an honor and a reminder of her responsibility to those who saw her as a model of resilience. She used every platform available to her to emphasize the importance of staying true to oneself and one's principles, even when faced with the most challenging circumstances. Emma knew that her story, more than a personal narrative of success, was a testament to the power of ethics, honesty, and integrity in shaping not only individual destiny, but also positively influencing those around. While Richard Hamilton struggled to rebuild his life and reputation in the wake of the consequences of his actions, Emma Thompson emerged as a beacon of hope and determination. Her journey from humiliation to honor became a legend not only among those who knew her closely, but also served as living proof that it is possible, even in the darkest circumstances, to emerge with dignity, purpose, and the conviction that true greatness is measured by character, not by position or wealth. Emma Thompson's trajectory unfolded as a remarkable tale of resilience and redemption, marking not only her own life, but also weaving a powerful narrative about the essence and impact of truth and authenticity in human lives. The Hamilton Mansion, with its walls full of secrets and silences, served as the unexpected starting stage for a journey that would challenge and reshape Emma's core being. She had entered this world not only with the hope of making a difference in the order and beauty of that grand house, but also with a quietness in her heart, a longing to belong and contribute to something greater than herself. What she found was a labyrinth of intrigues and hidden truths, a setting that demanded much more than just domestic skills. The revelation of the Hamilton family's secrets, propelled by Emma's relentless pursuit of justice and transparency, was not only a personal victory, but an act of liberation for those around her, unraveling the knots of a story long entangled in shadows. In the wake of these events, Emma's life took an unexpected and fulfilling turn. By accepting the position offered by Michael Carter, she immersed herself in a world that valued her true qualities and vision. Surrounded by colleagues who recognized and celebrated her essence, Emma found more than just a new job. She discovered a community, a sense of belonging that had eluded her for so long. The admiration and respect she received were not based on a constructed facade, but on the reality of her strength, intelligence, and most crucially, her ability to lead not only with her mind, but with her heart. Reflecting on the challenges overcome, Emma now saw each difficulty faced, each barrier broken, as essential steps in her journey. The obstacles had shaped her character, tested her resolve, and refined her leadership ability. She had become an inspiring figure not only for her professional achievements, but also for her unwavering stance in the face of adversity, a living proof of the strength that lies in truth and authenticity. Emma Thompson, through her journey from the Hamilton Mansion to the corridors of a new innovative company, has become a symbol of hope and inspiration. Her story is a testament to the transformative power of truth, showing that even in the face of the most challenging trials, it is possible to emerge not only successful, but with a deeper understanding of oneself and the value of staying true to one's principles. Emma not only altered the course of her own life, but also illuminated the path to justice and redemption for those whose voices had been silenced, leaving behind a legacy of courage, integrity, and an unwavering pursuit of truth that will reverberate for years to come. Hey, what did you think of this incredible story? Leave your opinions in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notification bell to be notified of every new video. Until next time.